Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're over on PulseChain, the home of pTGC and UFO, the two index tokens that give you exposure to the best of the PulseChain network. Good evening, gentlemen. Crypto Durgan, good to see you, man. I think were you in my stream yesterday? No, there was another guy that had a similar name, unless you're using a different account. Travis 5515. I fully expected to be 55. Willard, how's it going, man? Let me jump into spaces. That's what we do. We play spaces on my phone. You guys can hear the audio. We all can. And you can make any comments in the comment box. I'm going to adjust my camera just a little bit. Just kind of fill the picture a little better. I'm joining the space. I imagine it's going to be quiet tonight because is it not quiet in crypto? Bitcoin at 77, lower 77s. Good evening. I have some questions I want to ask too. Believe it or not.
What's up, Banana?
I'm doing good. Zen, how are you?
Another day.
Yeah. Yep, it's another day. Bitcoin's not moving much, except for down a little bit. Let me look at it on the 4 hour. Yeah, it's well, that's in market cap. Let me look at price USD. Oh, I'm looking at pTGC. Such a dork. Give me a second. Because it was at like 78 just not long ago. 81. Yeah, it was like on the 11th of May, it was 82. Now we're at 77. Wow, I didn't even realize that it dropped that far. It's a $5,000 drop in Bitcoin. I kind of
it's mainly just in the last couple of days.
I kind of thought it would have been up a little higher with news from about clarity, but maybe there's some other news going on. I don't know of any. Maybe you do.
I think a lot of it just is where the market is still right now. You have stocks at all-time highs, gold at all-time highs, but crypto's been struggling for a little bit now. And when you look at retail and where they're at, a lot of retail people don't have a lot of extra money right now. As far as institutional money, yeah, they got it. They'll bring it in. It seems like they are bringing it in. We saw Saylor bought, I think, $2 billion of Bitcoin just this morning.
Yep.
But yeah, I think what we saw, I made a post about this, I think, yesterday. What we saw last cycle for the bear market in the beginning stages of the bull market was a sharp down period for 9 months. Last cycle, it wasn't 9 straight red candles. There was a few, I think 2 green candles mixed into it. But overall, from its high to its low, it only took 9 months. This cycle, we had 9 red months in a row for the period. That could have very easily marked the low, but last cycle, after we made the low, it took a good another 9 months where ETH just kind of bounced around in a range that the range was quite large. It was like a 2x range or 100% range, but it tends to like bore you, right? Like we're up right now, and then it'll go down a little bit, and then it'll go up a little bit. But last cycle, it was like a slow uptrend for like 9 months. I wouldn't be surprised if something similar went on here. We've already possibly created the low. Obviously, things can go lower, but let's just say the low is in. You could very easily just bounce around for 6 more months with an uptrend, right? With a slight uptrend, but it can really start to put you to sleep.
Yeah. That's for sure. I think that's what's happening. Is the market is putting people to sleep. Definitely.
Which the sad part about that is that's when like people will really chew into their bag and
Right.
and lose a lot of their position.
Yeah.
Because it's boring, it's not exciting, and they're like, oh, I need some money for this. I'll pull from here, this or that. There's still a lot of people living off of cryptocurrency that maybe shouldn't even be. Like they should probably, get some other form of income instead of tapping into their investments. But a lot of people had the plan of living off of crypto and not working anymore, and people chew into bags like that as well. And these low, boring periods is a point where a lot of people chew into their bags. The people who value cryptocurrency and want more of it have the opportunity and the time to build their positions. And the people who don't have any other form of income or, aren't valuing their position or getting bored, they'll start to lose their positions really quick because everything's at low prices right now. Like this isn't even just a PulseChain thing or a pTGC thing. This could be someone that's been DCAing ETH for the last 6 years.
Yeah, people can lose their vision for crypto too. Like when you unplug for a little bit, like your heart gets drawn away from it, and then you can end up, sabotaging your own bags, like you said.
Especially when you look outward and you see stocks at all-time highs, gold hit all-time highs, Pokemon cards hit all-time highs. Like you start to look at elsewhere and you're like, oh my gosh, all these other places are winning super hard right now. Like maybe I need to go try my luck there. But that's usually the worst thing you could do is move out of the undervalued thing that has the potential to be overvalued in the future into something that's at all-time highs.
I see. Yeah.
Obviously, you love to pick the winner after winner and rotate from winner to the underpriced thing, and then ride it up, and then rotate to the underpriced thing. But that's not usually how it works, right? I feel like you have to just take conviction in the things that you truly believe in, and if there's opportunities to get better positions, take them. But chasing things that you're not interested in and stuff like that usually doesn't work in your favor.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'm pretty much done chasing anything. There was this is interesting. I don't think he's in here, but somebody reached out to me a couple weeks ago about a project that was going to launch or is going to launch or did launch or something. And he was just like, hey, you might want to check this out. And then I went and looked at it briefly. And then like he got back with me like 10 days later or something like that. He's like, yeah, I took a bunch of profit out of that one and put it into pTGC. I'm like, well, I'm not surprised. I'm really not surprised. That's something you could do is, like we've talked about that in the past, have a little dink around bag, go dink around and try to get some gains on some meme coins, with a small portion of your bag and see if you can make that swell up. And then, you could diversify it over into pTGC and UFO if you wanted to.
Yeah, it's very, people need to understand the difference between like long-term things and short-term things in this industry. I think a lot of times people mistake the meme coin portion of cryptocurrency like investing, but it's really just high-risk gambling. And if you want to dig around in that, just know it's high-risk gambling and 99.9% of stuff does fail. And if you do end up hitting a banger, a lot of people will use that house money to go and try to get more bangers, but don't be afraid to take a portion off the table and put it into more long-term store value plays. Like the people who have hit it hard on, let's say, Ethereum in the past, and who have taken some of those profits they've done on maybe a meme coin that they found earlier, this or that, and they put it into Ethereum, they did probably very, very well. Obviously, Ethereum hasn't done much, but 99.9% of those speculative plays, we have to remember, they go to pretty much zero. So if you get a little winner here or there, like, keep a moon bag or whatever, or if you truly do have conviction in it, maybe hold on to it. But I truly believe very little amount of projects, once you dig into it, are not really worth conviction. And
Yeah.
if you are into playing that game, like me personally, I'm not in cryptocurrency to gamble. I'm not a gambler. So I'm thankful to just find good long-term projects and DCA into those, and hopefully the positions I get in those eventually one day become enough to set my family and my loved ones financially free, just like I believe some of the people did with Bitcoin and Ethereum in the early days.
I think they will. I think everybody here right now paying attention, dollar cost averaging in or just hodling a bag is going to be very content with their holdings in due time. I have a buddy that he got up to a dolphin position over the weekend. He'd been working on it and working on it and working on it. And finally he's like, is this enough? Is this a dolphin position? I'm like, yeah, man. Matter of fact, you got a little bit more. So great job. And I really hope that, and I think that pTGC is going to rescue his bags from doom, because he's at a rough go this, for several years, along with many of us. But I think that pTGC, I think he's going to be very happy that he took a position over here. And I'm thankful I was able to get a word into him to encourage him to just start. Now he got himself a full dolphin position. That's something I think he's going to be really glad in due time.
Yeah, that kind of leans into what I was talking about, is the people who want to build a position have the opportunity to do that here with this sideways chopping Ethereum, sideways chop, and then somewhat sideways chopping pTGC and PulseChain as well. The people who want to increase their bags have the opportunity to, and then the people who need money or just want to exit, like, it's chopping at their bags as well, just in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
And that's distribution for you, right? And I believe that's what's going to make pTGC so strong coming out of this bear market into the next bull. I don't even think 99% of the people in pTGC fully have even grasped the amount of distribution that this protocol has done throughout the last 2.5 years. It's something truly amazing. And I know that's just 2.5 years, right? Like, I'm excited to see what 5 years brings, what 7 years brings, what 10 years brings for the distribution of this protocol. And hopefully for the gains of this protocol too, right? Like, I truly believe we're close to a bottom here. And even with chopping sideways for a little bit, that's just going to make distribution better for when the markets finally do pick up in our favor. There's going to be gains to be made in a lot of different places. Some of them very short term, some of them will pump and then dump, some of them will rug pull. Like, it depends on where you are, but I truly believe pTGC is going to have an awesome bull market. Filled with gains, APY, deflation, LP ads, and then also, with the goal of this run being super sustainable, right? Because it's not only about doing 1,000x, but maintaining as many of those X's as possible for people who, bought all sorts of ranges and actually want to see things through next cycle, aren't seeing their portfolio just decrease by, 95% or 99%, like most meme coins do, or most even DeFi protocols and all altcoins do.
Yep. He's gonna, now there was another gentleman that was on my stream yesterday. He worked himself up to shark position. That was pretty impressive.
Can you think how impossible, like, it's not impossible, like, everything's possible. You can see Michael Saylor, at the position he's trying to get in Bitcoin, obviously costing him billions on billions on billions. But you imagine, like, how difficult it will be to get, like, a shark position in the future when, the market is moving back around again. and PulseChain, let's say, moving finally back up again, and we're rocking. It's going to be nearly impossible for most users unless they spend a decade VCAing in themselves. And that's where I feel like where we are right now at this 93% discount, there are people who understand this protocol and understand the math, and they now have the opportunity to build that bag that they maybe wanted or didn't get a chance to get, or maybe some of them took profits and want to get it back. Now that they understand the scene more and understand the community strength and resilience a lot more too, because that's a lot of it, right? Like, you don't know how a community will develop and grow, and how much resilience, how much want to succeed they actually have until you see it happen, until you see 2.5 years later the proof that they're not going anywhere. Like, there's nothing that anyone could do. Like, the chain can literally go down 95%, and they're just going to stand there and say, bring it on. Lower prices make it easier for us to do X's. So I do think these discounts present something special, because there's still only 3% of supply in LP right now. And that's not because we didn't put a lot of supply in LP or because we're not adding to it. We focus on adding to it constantly with every transaction. We just added like $100,000 of LP with Ethereum, but it's super thin because this token's scarce and it's buying and burning itself every single day. And right now that 3% is rather cheap, because everything that we're paired to is down 90+5%. At any point, that discount can go away.
Yeah. Well, speaking of token distribution, do you have any idea how many whales we had back in, say, November? How many pTGC whales we had? Or we can even go back. I think we can go back a little bit further. I'm looking at the records. We have lost a couple of whales, or one at least. And I got to get my eyes back on it again. But I had it pulled up. I just switched screens, so now I lost it somehow. But I'm going to look at the number of whales. Let's talk about the number of whales, sharks, and dolphins that we had going as far back as I've been keeping record. And it'll be interesting to see the difference. And what, like you said, the token distribution. So
cool.
let me just get my eyes on that. There we go. Okay, so I've got sorry, pTGC UFO. Go pTGC. I have Go pTGC on one screen and my sheet on the other. Oh, we have the same number of whales. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Okay, I started keeping record of the number of positions back in November when we had 14 whales that held 102 billion pTGC of the supply. Now we have 13 that hold 97 billion pTGC of the total supply. Isn't that interesting? We lost one whale, yet we lost nearly 5 billion tokens out of the whale pool. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. Some people are not just right on the cusp of being a whale. They're probably a little bigger, and maybe they've taken profits or something like that with a portion of their bag.
Yes. Now, in November, we had 107 sharks, and we've kind of oscillated back and forth. And now we have 110. But back in November, they held 93 billion pTGC. Now they hold 92 billion pTGC. So those shark positions have decreased also. Token distribution.
Yeah, it's rather pretty even though, right? Like it definitely seems like as far as shark positions goes, because we watch people relinquish their bags, but then we also watch people increase their bags and add to their bags, and brand new people take positions. So I think that's an interesting one for sure. That there is that distribution process going on. There's tokens moving out of the hands of people who are getting worn out of waiting, and this is any cryptocurrency, and they're getting in the hands of brand new holders, people who are pretty much taking action with a brand new mindset, brand new opportunity. For people that we're onboarding that are new to PulseChain, a brand new experience. That's one of the things I love to focus on is IRL people, because they don't have the experience that a lot of us have here on PulseChain, where we're sacrificers, right? Sacrificers 5 years ago, been along the road, like some of us who have taken positions in some alternate ideas, like pTGC, have done well with those alternate ideas. But a lot of us still have our PulseChain positions, our sacrifice positions, and those haven't done super great, which doesn't feel awesome. But there's an opportunity to onboard a whole new group of PulseChain people, Hexicans, Grays, that are going to have a brand new experience from this point on. They don't know the previous experiences.
Yeah.
And I personally believe from this price, this Ethereum price, this PulseChain price, this pTGC price, there's a lot of upside with very little downside potential. And I personally, if I look back, when I got into cryptocurrency, when I got into Ethereum, when I got into Hex, when I got into PulseChain, the opportunity right now seems even better, honestly. Seems even better. Where we are with everything lining up, with Richard, with the Clarity Act, with Ethereum sitting at these prices. When I got into Ethereum, it was cheaper, but I think there's something to look at, just seeing Ethereum at a 60-70% dip from its all-time high 2 cycles ago. Just huge opportunities all across the board. And then obviously PulseChain as a whole is an opportunity that I'm envious of people who can get their first positions here. It's just such a great opportunity. I made a post. You're almost getting for $25,000 of PulseX. You're almost getting what someone sacrificed $500,000 for. And then $500,000. Someone who sacrificed $500,000, you're getting that for $25,000 today.
Yep. A bargain. Amazing. Well,
and that being said, I think for the people here on PulseChain, the PulseChain, the people who have been on PulseChain for 5 years, not on PulseChain, but sacrificed and stuff like that. I think it's important to find a way to grab these dips, because everyone on PulseChain deserves to get these dips. They deserve to get these cheap tokens, because you've been grinding, you've been working, you've been holding, you've been onboarding, right? Don't let these prices disappear, because the bull market's going to pick up eventually, and prices like this might never come back.
Yeah, that is true. Well, back in November, we had 594 dolphins. And today, that whole 594 dolphins that held 54 billion tokens. Today, we have 677 dolphins that hold 60 billion tokens. So the dolphins have really increased their positions, and there's like what, over 100 additional, well, almost 100 more dolphins today than there were back in November. That's amazing. And then we can even go to squids. There were 2,200 squids back in November. Today there's 2,300, and they hold not just 25 billion tokens, but 26 billion tokens. I mean, think of it. Our squid class, Zen, the squid class in pTGC holds 25 billion tokens. That's a sizable percentage of the total supply. Let's see, 25 divided by 290. Our squids hold like 9% of the supply, the circulating supply. 9%.
So a squid, that's roughly $300 to $3,000, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's 2.9 million tokens is a squid. That's less than $300 today. And they comprise 9% of our total holders.
They got those just in case bags, boys.
9%, man.
Yeah. I think what's important about that banana is 50 of them. The amount of people that have that, like roughly $1,000 of pTGC sitting in their wallet.
What was that?
Great, Zen. Do you have like the ability to correct your mic because it's muffled and low and really bad quality?
I'll go outside. I'm going to go outside, see if that helps.
Thanks.
You got to go out into that warm CA weather. Well, you can. It's like 45 where I am, man. I don't even want to go outside. Hey, Charles, do your own research. Research says pTGC is always building, always streaming, always advancing, always burning, always stacking liquidity. It's designed for glory and gains. And he goes further and says he loves the new calculator. Even with very bearish numbers, every path leads to a $1 pTGC. Every bullish scenario leads to silly but true numbers that are well beyond life-changing generational wealth. Yeah, like I congratulated my buddy today. I'm like, he and I are friends. But every once in a while, even with your friends, you got to be like, this is not financial advice. But I'm like, dude, if pTGC goes to some of the numbers we've been discussing recently, it's like you're holding in that stinking dolphin position. Potentially multi-generational wealth, man.
Well, what was the numbers today, Zen, on that post that you put out? I think it was it 50,000 a month? I can't remember now. I was driving back from Dallas, but go back here.
I'm sorry.
Hey, what's up, Benjamin?
Mando, how you doing?
Blessed, doing well, doing great. Everything is good.
Good to hear. You're always a blessed man. God first.
Amen.
I like CJ always talking about that, Mando.
I'll never stop talking about that. You don't have Christ, you don't have nothing.
You know what I've learned? Probably the most valuable thing I've acquired in this journey on PulseChain is I always had God first, but I learned the second step in that, in the one level below that. It's God first, brotherhood second, and everything else will take care of itself. You need to be around strong. You need to have a group of strong men that support each other and go for two or more for the truth. In the Bible, they talk about that, 2 or more for the truth. But anyways, that's a side note. I got something for you guys.
Shoot.
I always try to think of something positive to say, right? And every time I come in here, I always think of something real positive. And I think the message really, all right, I'm pretty good at understanding the average guy's mind. And I think the biggest sales point out of anything in this is, why wouldn't you have 3% of your bag, 3% of your portfolio in the token? 3% isn't going to do anything like if you don't have 3% in, like it's probably not a wise decision. I don't think anybody could argue with saying 3%. And how it usually works, if somebody puts something in, then they're more than likely to pay attention more and put more in. So my question is why don't people, why isn't, yeah, so what do you think about that? Like, I think that's fair, right? When people talk about moon shit and none of that stuff, like, I think that stuff's played out, right? Real financial advice is if you ain't got 3% of this token, like, the odds are against you. That 3% could turn into a hell of a lot, possibly.
He ain't lying. Yeah, man.
So I think that's the biggest marketing thing. You
Well,
know,
number one, Benjamin, is the number one reason is because people don't understand it.
Yep.
Oh, I would say they don't know it exists. If you're in the PulseChain community, you know it exists. You either don't understand it, or you were in and sold early, and you just have that biasness of selling early, or you have the biasness of you didn't get in, and you won't get anything unless you're get in under $100,000 market cap.
Yeah, but 3%, like you said, is actually quite a bit, right? So,
what do you mean? What do you mean 3% is quite a bit? Like I said, what do you mean by that?
Or like Bananas was talking about like the squid levels and how like they own like 9% and it's only like, you know, maybe $1,000.
How many tokens is $1,000 worth of pTGC right now? Do you know?
Oh, about 11 million. 1,000,
Okay.
because you can pick up a million tokens for just under $100 right now.
Okay. So it's 11 million tokens, right? Well, at the peak, we were about a 6x away from a penny.
So what if you get to 3 pennies? How much is that worth? Was that number that you just talked about that you bought for whatever that was? How much is that at 3 pennies?
That's $330,000.
Exactly. That's a pretty good gamble.
The asymmetric upside is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. If you have 11 million tokens at just 1 penny, it's 110 grand. It costs $1,000 to buy that right now. We were only a 6x away from that at the previous all-time high.
And what's it at? Like a half a penny
for the 11 million tokens?
Yeah,
55 grand.
I think that's very reasonable.
Dude, I'll be honest with you. I think this thing's going way past that, dude.
Yeah. Doesn't matter what you or I think, right? People can understand like $55,000 from $300 or whatever.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, this thing gets into the single-digit pennies. In my opinion, it's still probably yard sale prices. Maybe not yard sale, but you still need some exposure, even once we get into the pennies.
So, but even if you go to I think the message is like half a penny. Like we get to all-time high again, PulseChain takes off. Pretty good chances that we get to a penny, and you're gonna have $100,000, right, or whatever that case may be. Like that would make me I think that's going to make a lot of the little guys be like, yeah, why am I not doing that? Like, they're not talking bullish. They're talking just get back to where we were. If we all believe PulseChain's going to take off, like, I probably should diversify a little bit, put 3% in here and keep it rolling, right? Like, do what you need to do, but let's be smart about it, right? You do got a lot going for you, like more than pretty much everybody, you know, for the most part.
Well,
right?
if you're on PulseChain, to me, it's the biggest no-brainer on PulseChain. the system outperforms the Richard Hart ecosystem by a plethora. There's frankly no comparison.
I want to know. Yeah, we talked about that last time. Like, that just seems hard. I don't know shit about shit, right? But it's like, seems kind of like, if that was 100% the case, like, I don't know, man.
It's not if it was, it's a fact. It's a fact.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to add too, like in that scenario we were just talking about, I think that was like 100x from here to a penny roughly.
Right. Yeah.
The cool thing, like, and I had a post about this today, because we have 2.5 years of data and we know how close our volume tracks with price, etc. And right now the Dow is generating like $1,000 a day, and if we got there, we very easily could be generating $50,000 to $100,000 every single day in the Dow alone. This doesn't count the APY. This doesn't count the auto buy and burns. This doesn't count the auto LPs. This is just the Dow. And for me, like, that would feel really good. Not only the X's, but just seeing that value come into this ecosystem and being able to use that ecosystem to add to all the places that matter, like fueling the LP pools with more LPs, if that's RH tokens or if that's legacy assets like stable coins near a top or Ethereum or Bitcoin, and really building up the portion of the machine that generates that revenue for us and backs the value of the whole entire ecosystem. So it's like not only about like, yeah, you could throw $1,000 in and, with a remotely successful PulseChain, easily turn that into $100,000, but you can actually own $100,000 of something that's not stopping. It went from generating $1,000 a day to now it's generating $100,000 a day, and and then you have $100,000 in something that has the potential to do another 10x and do another 10x, just like how early people in Bitcoin and Ethereum, at one point, someone that put in $1,000, that was easily worth $100,000. And it's not just $100,000; it's $100,000 in an appreciating asset that has sustainability and community and stuff like that too. So it's not like you had to buy that $100,000 from like bringing $100,000 in. You only had to put $1,000 in, like you were saying, Benjamin, 3% portfolio, or everyone's 3% is a little different. Some people's larger, some people's smaller, but taking a position at the low of a project that's in a community that's proven to be able to do X's in a bull market, I agree with Nando, is almost a no-brainer at this point.
Yeah, and at these prices, right? Like, just getting to a penny is like life-changing, right? And like, I think a penny is actually probably, if everything in PulseChain goes the way it's supposed to, eventually, like a penny's doable, right? Like, that's real tangible. Like $1, I hate when people talk like super moon stuff, right? Like, that's just me personally. I want something that's like somewhat tangible and realistic. And a penny at these prices
in the wrong
is
industry.
life-changing, right? So like, anything more than that doesn't really matter. Life-changing is life-changing.
Matters to me.
So like, I looked at your post, I was like, okay, like, my natural reaction first thing is, probably not like always the best thing, right? I'm just like everybody else. We're all super critical and this or that, right? So I was just reading stuff, right? But the more you come in, and that's the number one thing you got going for you also is you, my friend, right? Like, you're such a good, people believe you, right? And a penny is very believable.
Yeah. Yeah, a penny is believable.
It's math. It's, as long as the code keeps doing what the code's designed to do, as long as the community keeps doing everything it's done to date, like, we onboard, I think, roughly 5,000 holders a year. That's what we did last year. The years before that, we onboarded a little bit more, but those were in better times on PulseChain, etc. If we keep onboarding at the rate we've been onboarding, even through the toughest year on PulseChain to date, if our code just keeps firing, like we're making the assumption that this code is battle tested and good, which it pretty much is battle tested. It's audited. It's 2.5 years of perfect uptime and flawless operation. And then we factor in a remotely successful blockchain, like especially from these low levels, like a penny is mathematically really, really easy to do.
Yeah.
It actually starts hitting some crazier numbers, like numbers that you're saying that you don't even like talking about because they're so high, if you're willing to wait a few more cycles as well. Where a lot of people won't, right? You have to assume like, hey, when people do 100x, they're going to take profits and this and that. But some people might hold a portion of their bag 10 years or something like that and actually get to see, those kind of numbers, assuming that the pTGC community keeps growing along with PulseChain as a whole keeps growing. I built a calculator that kind of simulates that. And it's a lot easier to get to $1, I think, than most people realize if you're willing to wait 10 years and most people aren't. That's the honest truth, right? Most people aren't willing to grind. Look at Bitcoin and Ethereum. Like the people who got in the first few years of Bitcoin and Ethereum, very few of them actually held for 10 years. A lot of them were up 15x and sold their entire bag. But some of them had to hold on to a portion of their bag and get to ride that whole entire wave.
Yeah. And this is not an industry to where we shouldn't expect insane gains. We just got to we got to prepare ourselves because this is crypto, man. It can go crazy. It can also be crazy the opposite direction. You know what I mean? Both directions.
With crazy gains comes crazy volatility.
Yeah.
If you do a crazy amount of X's up, be prepared to have some volatility downward because there's distribution that has to take place. I think Hex is a great example of that. But I think done a ton of distribution in this last year, and we've had no lack of volatility. Look at where we're at right now. But I feel very confident in how we've spent this last year and a half, this alt season bear market, just becoming stronger and working on the foundation and putting effort towards the things that we've seen matter and believe matter, getting ready for this next bull run. And in this next go, we'll see the kind of X's that we can do this cycle. Hopefully there's something similar the last cycle, and we'll have a heavy focus how much more sustainable those X's can be this coming cycle over last cycle as well.
Sean Freshly is asking on YouTube. He says, hey guys, tell me the reason to buy now rather than waiting until October, November, December, which is the typical bottom time for BTC in a midterm year. Bitcoin looks like it's going to roll over and go sub 60,000. He wants to know, why should he buy now?
Because Trump, when elections come, Trump needs things to be high for people to get elected, and he's going to do that.
Nah, if you're going off of that, Benjamin, you're going to get wrecked. If you're going off anything because Trump, you're going to get rizeked, bro.
I hear you, but like Trump is like.
So why don't we just stick to the 4 market cycles for Bitcoin? And why don't we just measure the blow off tops for the asset and how long it took each cycle to reach the bottom? What is the mean of those 4 market cycles?
Bro, nobody cares about that.
Let me tell you something right now. Anyone who doesn't care about that is an absolute moron, and they don't have a freaking clue what they're doing in this business.
I know, but nobody gets it right.
Dude, you want to know what gets it right?
Mm-hmm.
The Bitcoin blocks gets it right.
So when Bitcoin went to 100 and whatever, you didn't think it.
If you're not tracking the amount of Bitcoin coming out and the cycle, you're not tracking it properly. Bitcoin topped out within 30 days of the average mean of all previous cycles.
Yeah, but I could have swore that you thought Bitcoin was going to like 200 and some thousand, bro.
I never said that, dude.
Okay, good. Then that's just a misconception. That's good.
No, nobody had a clue where it was going to go, but I'll tell you right now, within the people that I'm with, we were masterminding for a shit ton of information on it, and it basically just did the exact same cycle as the previous cycles, based on standard KPIs for the Bitcoin network. So if you look at the last cycle, how long did it take to go from the top, where it double topped, to the bottom? It took 12 months. How long did it take for the previous cycle before that? It took 12 months. How long did it take for the previous cycle before that? It took 12 months. So why would I base anything off of anything other than what's been a very standardized market cycle, when the Raoul Pauls and all the people that said this was a super cycle and all that, they were all completely wrong. Trump hasn't done shit but wreck Bitcoin. I mean, he launched his
He's made a lot of money.
He launched his token. I'm not talking about Trump. When he launched his token and then Melania came out, that completely destroyed the whole business. That literally took the whole cycle out in terms of altcoins. So we peaked in what, October? Yeah.
Yep.
So it's just, I just think I don't think there's any reason to think that you're not going to have a standard 12-month from peak to trough market cycle. It could do something different because the network is maturing, and the people coming in, the amount of inflation is being bought up. But between 9 and 12 months, and you're going to see a bottom, in my opinion. I mean, I could be wrong.
I want to make a bet, just a friendly wager, Mando.
No, I don't bet. There's no reason to bet. But I would say October would be the absolute latest. It peaked in October, so that'd be 12 months, October to October.
Can I chime in on this, guys?
I know what you're going to say, but I'd love to hear it.
What do you think I'm going to say?
Let's just hear it, man. Let's just hear it.
I mean, I can be somewhat objective being in Australia, looking at the US. I used to live in Texas for a while, actually. Good old Austin, Texas. I know it well. I've started. Yeah. Anyway, I won't go into that. I think. Look, my opinion, whatever it's worth, what I'm looking at is the US debt refinancing wall, which is a pretty big macroeconomic setup. US national debt is 39 trillion. So there's, I think, 33% of publicly traded debt. I think it's like $10 trillion needs to get refinanced within a 12-month window, right? So will there be a repricing shock? I mean, I'm just looking at that debt wall that needs to be refinanced. And, as the debt matures, the US government has to issue new debt to pay that off. And I think market rates, I think it's like 3 to 4%. So anyway, without going too far, I think that's what I'm watching. I'm watching that they'll just literally, bonds are a bit of a safe haven. They're very, very attractive for investors. So, that's obviously a contrary thing. So I think what I'm looking at is that debt maturity personally, and I think that could cause a big wave of liquidity into the market, probably mid to end of the year. But I'm watching that.
So Morse just got in, right?
Yes.
Just getting in. Okay. So what he's not going to do, in my opinion, what he's not going to do is instantly drop rates, because that would absolutely look like he's just being a shoe-in for Donald Trump. The Fed's not going to allow that. They're not going to do that. So he's going to give it some breathing room to assess, to make it look like there's some assessment, there's some analysis going on. They're going to have a couple meetings. They're going to do their bullshit thing. And we're in what, January, February? We're in currently March or May, right? May, June, July, August, September. I bet you by September we have interest rate cuts.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I never call timings personally, but all I know is that like Bitcoin is a thermometer for net liquidity globally. So I think obviously you have Europe and some issues going on there. I think they need to print money pretty urgently. So I think it's not just around the US, by the way, too. So I think I'm just looking at that. I mean, I look at it in PulseChain too. I look at TVL, just back to that previous conversation. I mean, PulseChain ultimate TVL was $938 million. It's at $55 million. I mean, guy, like just quickly on that, like it's going to be pretty insane. I mean, there's a 17x just back to all-time high in TVLs. I mean, imagine what that will do for pTGC. But
and what system on PulseChain benefits more from that revaluation?
An index token. Oh man, yeah.
A revenue generating index token.
Well, correct, Mando. So, and like, I mean, not to get too technical, but like the way that AMMs work and that, I mean, you can see like per dollar of bridge value coming back into a L1 at its complete bottom and floor. Like that could be pretty scary. How much price is actually chop back up, because it's actually not a linear, it's a parabolic scale. So I mean, it's too difficult to break down. I was thinking about doing like some videos on it and posting them or something, but it's pretty, yeah, I mean, I get excited about that. I don't look at like dollar values where it go. Like I'm just looking at equations of what happens when TVL comes back, global liquidity flows down. But I think, yeah, I just like to give people a bit of hope, because at the moment, and when I think people say, oh, well, Bitcoin dropped below sub 60K, I mean, just watching it for so long, I mean, it could do anything, but I think that there'll be anomalies that will come in, and I think just be careful of overspending, but also, you know, don't be just holding for market reasons. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think, man, by October, November at the latest, the bottom's going to be in for Bitcoin. I mean, you're going to get a confirmed reversal. So,
yeah, I agree with that.
And I don't see Benjamin. I don't see Warsh sitting at the current interest rates much past August, September. I think giving it 3-4 months tops to make, you know, for OPSEC purposes, and then dropping the rates so that, like what he's talking about, the revaluation of the debt can take place, because it has to take place. That's the spark.
I think that there's a 70% chance that we hit $100,000 by the time the midterm comes around in November for Bitcoin. And then I think there'll be a pullback, right? But I bet we touched that $100,000.
I mean, yeah, but on the monthly, that would already be a confirmed reversal, though. So that would already indicate that we've come out of it.
The bottom's in, bro. The bottom is in.
I mean, I just look at it, guys, like they have to refinance the debt, right? And whenever the timing of that is, Bitcoin, I think just the thing to understand about cryptocurrency and why, obviously going back to Satoshi's intention, is that it was created out of the GFC and it just really started to rock up. It didn't even rock up in price that much after the GFC, right? It took actually quite a few years. It was still kind of, I mean, it did go up quite a lot. But did you know what I'm saying? I think
Did he get rugged?
He got rugged on my end.
I can't hear you, Dizzle. Are you still there, Benjamin?
Yes, I am, Mr. DeLorean. Hey, don't they got like that new
Yep.
Star Wars thing coming out?
Friday.
Who you going to see it? I bet on Friday.
Oh yeah. Got a nice lady friend. We're gonna go out and enjoy it. It's gonna
That's
be
what I was
awesome.
gonna say. I was like, which lady are you taking?
Well, that's for me to know.
What about you? Got a kid, right? Aren't you taking your kid, bro? Come on.
Yeah, bro, my son's 21 years old, man.
Even better.
He's taking his girlfriend, man.
Double date, man. Double date, bro. Make it memorable.
Yeah, I think it's going to be cool. I think that we've been waiting for that one for quite some time. After the series. But yeah, going back to that conversation, I think that'll probably take place. There's no way that out of all the presidents ever that I've been alive, there's no way that he's going to allow. He's the person that's all he's done his whole life is just refinance debt. So to not get that done for the American people, it just seems kind of silly. So that's why he's there. But I do think they have to have a good 3-4 months of just, OPSEC to just not make it look like, it's all just being done for one reason over another. But yeah, I think you're right. I think November is a good time frame to see an uptick. By then. But I will tell you this, out there in, crypto land, it's just capitulation all over the place right now. All I see is just people just tapping out. I'm not even talking about PulseChain. I'm just talking about in general.
Yeah, I think a lot of people overspent, and that just on my big thoughts is like, and I have to be really honest. People go to me, oh, yeah, you must be like a whale and all this stuff. I'm like, well, look, I'm just careful. I just think don't put in. I think we could be chopping for a little while, and it's a beautiful opportunity. I think you said that, Zen. What a great opportunity just to keep accumulating in this ecosystem.
Well, to be honest, like we would prefer it, to be honest, because we're seeing what it's doing for the system right now. And
I never went in all in and sacrifice. The hype of people just sacrificing. I got mates that putting hundreds of thousands of dollars in, and they're just crying. They're tapped out, and they've just lost. And this is the thing in business. You've just got to maintain your energy. I think Patrick David Batt says it. The kiss of death for an entrepreneur is when you lose your energy. You've got to maintain your mental energy, and that is sure you could drop in all your paycheck, or you could do that, but you've just got to be so measured. Because the market will chop down, and I'm just always waiting. I mean, look, to be honest, I'm waiting for another Black Swan event. I will go hard into PulseChain and pTGC. I haven't even deployed like crazy, and that's what makes me sleep at night.
Well, but see, we know that. We know that there's a lot of capital on the sidelines ready to go in. It's just whenever that specific person feels like it's that time. It's different for everybody. But down here at these levels, look, the top 50, I'm taking in millions of pTGC, millions. Like this stuff's just coming off the market, right? And if you don't know how the system works, you don't know how the system works. I don't know how else to say it. And Zen's been beating dead. I mean, we're watching the top 100 wallets. The top 9 out of the top 50 wallets aren't even owned by anybody. They're owned by the debt address and the community via LPs. And then the 50 through 54 don't even have 1 billion tokens left. You go past that and you go straight down to the top 100 wallet, around 400 million tokens now. So the system has just bought out a ton of people, man.
Yeah, I think the problem people are going to have is how to actually exit, because it's gonna go up so hard and so fast that and I don't recommend anyone just sells everything. Obviously, the whole point is that you just hold this for a long, long time. But I think people, I think my encouragement to anyone is that even with $100 worth, I think you guys were saying it before, you're still going to do pretty good. You know what I'm saying, and the guy that has $1,000 worth could actually outpace the guy with $50,000, because the guy with $50,000 has gone all in and needs to sell on a 2x, whereas the person with less can actually, if you know how to sell a top or or swap or whatever you want to do into stables or whatever it is. But yeah, I just like to encourage people, because a lot of people hit me up in DMs going, "Oh, I've only got this much, a little bit." I'm like, man, just study how to preserve your capital.
Oh, Dizzle, I'm going to tell you right now, man, in the last 30 days, I've had a lot of people from PulseChain connect with me, and friends, peers, people that I haven't met yet in person, but people are hurting, dude.
Yeah.
People are hurting, and they're just looking for any advice, what do I think, that kind of a thing. I'm trying the best I can to help people out that have been on this journey for 5-6 years with Richard. And that's how I know we're getting close, because
Correct.
I not only do I see it on PulseChain, but I'm seeing it in Bitcoin. I'm seeing it in the larger L1 communities too. Like, people are tapping out. Okay. That's a major sign. It's always been a sign.
Spot on. Yeah, it is. And that's why I like to, PTGC is just why I am. I mean, look, it's my main bag, I'll be honest. I mean, yeah, it's way more than 3% for me. Yes, I have Ethereum, Bitcoin, all that, but I see opportunity, and that's just something, because you just want to scoop up the thing that hasn't run, that's on lower on the S curve, as Richard Hart so eloquently says, you got ThoughtChain getting hacked. You got PulseChain is solid. I think people do not understand that PulseChain is. I mean, the thing is, is Ethereum the testnet of PulseChain, and it really is. Like, I'm telling you guys, like, I get hit up with people. I'm helping people with OpSec as well, just how to secure your funds. Just being, but you just want to. I think, obviously nothing's 100%, but I think Richard Hart is really, 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 really all over that security of the chain, and he pumps it. And that is what it's about, sleeping at night, right, guys? We've got to be able to sleep, and just be careful, but also know what you hold. And this is the great opportunity to scoop right now, because when it does go back up on a brand new L1 with that XK, sorry, it's a little bit we've got young kids, so it's been a bit of a long night, but it's going to be pretty cool, that parabolic scale when liquidity flows back. So you don't even need to have that much, is what my encouragement to people. Whether you've got $100 worth, $1,000, $100,000.
Yeah, Zen, you can probably chime in here, man.
Yeah, not me.
I'll be honest, man. You can get a $100,000-$200,000 bag and just enjoy it. It's a really fun cryptocurrency to own, to stake, to watch, to learn from. We have so many amazing dashboards and things that you can take a look at KPIs with and play with. And it's one of those, but the main ingredient is it's a constant, ever expanding ecosystem. And we just added a lot of Ethereum, and we're starting to dollar cost average pretty hard into Ethereum. And people are asking, okay, why Ethereum? Well, because we already have so much of the PulseChain assets. We frankly don't need them anymore. And the code is constantly DCAing our liquidity web into them anyway, right? So that's a whole nother revenue generating stream that's been added just within the last 30 days. And it's already the third largest LP in the system now.
124K is the Ethereum LP, right?
Yeah,
right.
Correct. So, and we have, there's some goals there to hit, before the market cycle, really kind of ticks back up the other way. But that's not only a new revenue generating source and a massive LP and a connection to legacy. It's also, it's what's being talked about. Nobody amongst the big boys, they don't care about a lot of this other trash. They just don't. It's Bitcoin, Ethereum, stable coins. Most of the stuff's fall to the wayside at this point. So it's marketing. It's that connection to those things that still have relevance, and also have a lot of volume throwing through them, because that volume in this system generates revenue, and that revenue is distributed to the perfect places. And that's why the system constantly is developing new floors, not only for LPs, but for price. So it's going to be very interesting to see where we're at in terms of distribution by the time, September through November roll around. And that's really kind of like between now and then, that's the real focus on what to do with the revenue and just staying very consistent with everything.
Yeah, I think that's the way to look at it is what we've focused on recently is the ETH LP, right? And getting that built up. But the revenue never stops, right? So, we're at 124 bottom of PulseChain at the bottom of ETH. And that's just today. A month from now, there will be more revenue generated every single day. Whenever this bull market picks up, it won't be the bottom of ETH anymore. It won't be the bottom of PulseChain anymore. And all those pools will reevaluate, and then they'll be generating more revenue, which gives us more capital to make LPs with other legacy tokens, if that's stables, if that's more ETH, maybe that's other RH tokens, whatever it is, right? Like the future is the future, but I think it's important to know like what we're able to do at these low levels is, like, for example, an ETH LP ad of $124,000. If you look at the majority of tokens on chain, like that's more than most of their LP, and that's just the most recent one we've done in the last month, and it's never going to stop. Ads with tokens and generating off of them, and it's just going to speed up and speed up and speed up. So I'm excited to see how that just throughout the lifespan of PulseChain. What's a $2 million LP web today at the bottoms of the chain can very easily become hundreds of millions with a revaluation of the chain and us just doing what we're doing. And then we get to the point where we're starting to stand out not only on like PulseChain, but throughout all of cryptocurrency, because revenue generation will grow. The ability to store more value and to get bigger players involved becomes more relevant. Distribution will get better, which creates less risk by, single holders owning too much. Like distribution's super great to create a sustainable system. The more users that have squid positions, really the better. Right now, those squid positions are between $300 and $3,000, but soon those squid positions could very easily be $3,000 to $30,000 and more as prices move up, etc. And I think just every single day making those steps in that direction, a lot of times they go unnoticed, right? Like I think the last year and a half is a great example of just tons of growth going completely unnoticed because it's been like an alt season bear market, like you said, ever since Millennia coin and the Trump coin, it's been alt season bear market. But behind the scenes, there's been so many important things done for the foundation of this system that is going to make it to where this coming cycle, I think, is going to be amazing for us.
Yeah, and you can try to keep your focus on, like, if you're on PulseChain or whatever chain, you could try to focus on memeing still, and, people are still making money. But I will say this, it's very difficult. It's not nearly as fun. There's not nearly as much capital at all, like 95% less. You're just going to get wrecked for the most part. So in my opinion, when you're playing the casino, you want to play the casino when the odds are in your favor, when there's energy in the casino, when there's capital, when there's things actually, it makes sense to go to Vegas, right? And when it makes sense to go to Vegas, it's fun, crypto wise. But right now, it makes sense to find those gems.
Yeah, I was going to say, just on the marketing side, can I just add a little thought?
Of course, man.
I'll tell you something pretty cool. I was speaking to a guy last night, and I don't want to give his name, but he created a brand. He's created 3 brands that one of them Kim Kardashian and Kanye picked up and promoted. So I'm talking, this guy's like an amazing mind. Like, he knows how to create, and this is like brands from over in the US, and he's done it 3 times, and he created his own brand. I'm actually having coffee with him later in the week, and really nice guy, really smart though, understands branding. And he said something that's impacted me. He said, look, just got to understand that with good branding, the only thing that a good brand has, and this goes to pTGC, and I'll try to link them, but it's the prestige and the projection of just being like, why do you buy Nike? Why do you buy why these brands? Like, why are they at the forefront?
Dizzle, speaking to the mic, man. We're losing you.
Oh, I am. Can you hear me?
You cleared up now. Thank you. Yep.
Sorry. Yeah. So basically, this guy just if you couldn't hear me, he created some major.
We heard all that.
Yeah. And so what he was distilling and is that it's just that prestige of branding and power and projecting that to the public, to people. And I think that, just thinking about it now, just after last night, just that's what pTGC is. People know it deep down, even though they try to fight it. Like, pTGC is the best token on PulseChain. So just remember what happens when PulseChain picks up. But I think I just wanted to ask you, Zen, too, like, what would be your marketing plan when things are ripping up? Like, would you need to, or like what? I'd just like to tap into the marketing side. And by the way, look, I will be talking to this guy later in the week, and I don't like to jam people like that with crypto. I think he's worth a couple of $100 million. But I'm just really fascinated with how we can push the branding of this powerhouse, because obviously we're in a down market and it's tricky right now. But how do we? What's your guys' thoughts just on the marketing side and just projecting the power of what we have here? Because this thing's a monster.
Yeah, I think this cycle, we have a lot of things that we didn't have last cycle when we got to the 400 mil market cap. And you can chime in on this, but we did, in my opinion, improve the branding. We've switched the logo. We've made the website better and cleaner, and I think more professional as a whole. We've also got complete analytics sites that are good at look at all the information that's, I think a lot of true investors look for, like people not putting in $1,000, but people that are putting in $100,000 plus. Also, we have affiliate programs built into the system now to get people rewarded for onboarding. And I think just getting what
the LPs, the legacy
out
there,
there,
the LPs is marketing.
Yeah, the LPs with actual tokens that people know, I think is a good one. Most people, when you talk to them about the liquidity and what chain we're built on, they don't even know PulseChain, right? And that's where we have such a large opportunity. When you're talking to IRL people and you tell them what chain you're built on, they have no idea what PulseChain is.
Correct.
But you say, we have $1 million of liquidity with Ethereum, 5 million with PulseChain, whatever they are in future levels, they'll recognize some of those. And then really, I think focusing on just everything that we did last cycle, but better. What can we learn from last cycle and just do it better this cycle? And I'm obviously open to any suggestions. I feel like I'm good about leaving myself open to suggestions. Trevor actually is in here, and he's the one that made the suggestion of cleaning up the branding of the logo of pTGC. And right when he suggested it, it was something I was thinking about for a little bit. And, I did what I could to take action on that suggestion because he's someone who understands branding better than me. I'm not a great branding person. I think I have unique skills that fit good categories for being a founder, but I don't have every skill out there that's necessary to be extremely successful. But luckily, this is cryptocurrency. So the community can kind of help guide this project in the direction that is best for this project.
Yeah, and also, I mean, the team that here, the community, obviously, this, we have a powerhouse of a team within our community, just total pros. But I think that we have no idea the kind of caliber of marketing that can be generated from witnessing how much revenue can be generated, right? Because obviously marketing comes from revenue. You can do free marketing things, but you can also do a lot of marketing that's not free. So when we're talking about a real turnaround, and we're talking about $100,000 days, $40,000 days. I mean, we were even at at peak levels when we were doing our peaks were like $2 to $3 million days. That's $150,000 day. Okay, and we're not starting at a 50, 100,000 market cap now. We're starting at a $25, $30 million market cap now, with LPs that are 10 times less. So when we turn it on, obviously part of the question, Dizzle, is how much revenue is being generated, and the amount of ideas, professional connections that can happen, and the professional marketing that can happen. That remains to be seen. But it's all of those things together.
Yeah, and I think that's what's great.
Having the Gray's alien after the alien disclosure thing. Look at the alien disclosure thing is literally just on the cusp of happening.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't freaking time the alien disclosure with the governments better for our branding.
Yeah, well, there's a major one here in Australia where I live. Years ago, it's all over the news. Actually, I don't know exactly where he is. Actually, I'm not too far from Somi, so I'm waiting to bump into him at the shopping centre one day. Because I think that's another marketing thing, by the way. If Somi picks us up a bit more. No, that's awesome. And I just wanted to encourage, thanks Trevor and Zan and Perry too, man. And you, Mando. Just thanks guys for being. And that's the biggest thing. That's what I was going to say is trust. And I've just been watching this over there since launch, and it's just you're front running, you're rebranding, you're constantly the affiliate program. It's that's what I like to see, and that's what will make me gonna go to people I know.
Did you say trust?
Trust. It's man. I trust this. I trust you all. You guys.
I'm gonna tell you something right now, man. There is not a team that I know of. It's not a team, but a community. There's not been one dime that's been generated from this system that has not been used 100% for the community. 100% benevolence.
Yeah, I can verify that. I've seen it.
And I'm talking, a lot of us had bags well within the double-digit million figures. You can't get more integrity than that.
It's good.
And you have Prairie, you have the founder. He has not stopped. He shows up every week, man. He doesn't change. He doesn't deviate. His business integrity, his acumen, the core group, we're always the same.
Yeah, it's good, and that's what I look for, to be honest. I mean, I got my kids in the background. I hear them with you, Zen, too. But I'm a man of faith too, a believer, and I love that about you guys. Obviously, don't want to push that too hard on people, but it's a big one, just hearing you guys talk about that.
I push it hard on people all day long.
No, I see it.
I want everybody to know Jesus. I'm very vocal about Christ, man.
Yeah, well, this guy that did all the Kanye branding and all that, he said a believer's, kind of.
Trevor's he's a man of faith. Loves the Lord. His whole family's a man of faith. William, you can see William in here.
Yeah, I know that we chat.
On fire for Jesus Christ, bro.
Yeah, man.
Prairie's a believer.
Yeah, no, same.
There's integrity up in here, man. Like, I'm not just using Jesus' name or anything. I shy away from that big time, but reality is reality, man. I'm going to say something. I believe that we have the success we have because we have a lot of integrity, and people know it.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's good. Thank you.
You can see it in what's been done.
Mm-hmm.
You just got done saying it's the best thing on PulseChain. So yeah, let's bring in your $100 million buddy and let's get him a just in case bag, man.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of these guys. Thankfully, I'm just, just being in business. But, the first thing is just even understanding if they're interested in crypto. But, these guys have exited and they're in their 60s. I'm in my 40s. But, these guys, I've thankfully just nice to have conversations with people. And again, I'm not saying I don't know, I like to use the word shill, but I don't want to give people false hope that there's people worth hundreds of millions buying, but because I don't think they'd even tell me. But
I think another big part of the marketing, Zen, and just in general, when the thing revalues, when and if we have a revaluation and we moving into the next cycle, the system that we're staring at now at this $25 million market cap, it's not going to look like it looks like now. It's going to look much different, right? And so there's an opportunity right now when everybody's dying, everybody's bailing out, blood's everywhere, everyone's woe is me. There's an opportunity to take a position in something that is obviously speculative, but has an amazing track record and is programmed. It's immutable. It's unchangeable. The capital can't go anywhere. The system works flawlessly for its token holders. And it's constantly expanding itself out there in this crypto space. Yes, it lives on PulseChain, but it's able to bring things in that's not just PulseChain, right? Obviously, Ethereum's a big one because, Ethereum's the silver to Bitcoin's gold. It's the narrative in terms of stable coins. It's the most decentralized EVM. Nobody really wants to touch anything else when it comes to legacy because of that. So it's going to be very interesting to see. But there's an opportunity right now between now, I believe, and, over the next few months, because at some point we're going to have a turnaround. It always feels like dog trash when you're in the middle of it, but there's always a turnaround. It doesn't matter. You remember when COVID hit? The whole world shut down. Crypto exploded. So these cycles aren't indicative. They're not dictated to by one thing over another thing. But I do agree with you that the debt has to be rebalanced. And that has to take place, I would imagine, by September. So it's going to be interesting to see, man. But there's an opportunity if you're on PulseChain, I agree with what Benjamin was saying. Like, if you're on PulseChain, what in the world does it take for you to invest in something? Not just buy a meme coin sitting in Panos's and space with the guys, on a 2-3 day pump and dump or whatever, nothing against Panos and those guys. I love those guys, but you're playing. All you can do is play the casino right now, but the casino's dead. There's not enough capital to do anything, right? But you can dollar cost average into something very special. I think that the Gray's currency represents something very special. I don't think that people quite understand the uniqueness of this first in kind, first in class, never been created before. And the LPs are massively undervalued. The market is telling everybody what the real true market is for PulseChain right now. It was never 3 zeros and a 1. Everybody that got involved with the sacrifices, they all overpaid. We all overpaid. It is what it is, right? But now the market is giving us real information, what these things are really worth. And there's power in that. Even though you lost your ass, there's power in knowing what the actual value of a thing is. So I think people should take that seriously if they're still in the space and they're still participating on this chain. Because if there is a turnaround, Zen's been screaming it from the rooftops. Prairie's been screaming it. This thing's going to go really, really hard. And people are just going to be like, shit, I freaking knew this. I saw this. I sat in their spaces. It made sense. And I just didn't buy it. That's the thing that sucks the worst. Anyway, there's nothing on the chain that has the kind of KPIs that this thing does.
Yeah, going back to the marketing thing, I truly believe the product is going to start to market itself after we pass certain thresholds. And that doesn't mean like we're not going to keep putting effort in to get the word out there, and hopefully it even makes it to where we start getting on bigger channels to where we're not stuck in the echo chamber so much, and then and whoever else wants to get on channels and educate on pTGC and UFO, because we are a community. It's not just, Banana and I, or, just Mando. It's all of us getting the word out there. I think once we pass certain thresholds, the product's going to start to market itself, because I truly do believe that what it is stronger and more powerful, more resilient, better design than pretty much everything that's out there as far as cryptocurrency, from DeFi all the way to meme token. I think we technically are a better meme token than most of the memes out there, because our mascot never goes away. It's always going to be reoccurring. There's always going to be news events. Most likely this cycle is going to be great for alien narratives. I thought it was actually going to be a little bit more last cycle, but it was probably for our best that it got held off a little bit, and we get to utilize it probably a lot this cycle as well. All the way to DeFi protocols. Like, you see DeFi protocol just getting hacked because they're not real DeFi. Yeah, there's like lending involved and stuff like that, but you're giving up custody of this, and there's smart contracts holding everyone's funds here. Really, there's no value generation. There's just movement of money and nothing being actually generated. Even if you look at some of the largest cryptocurrencies that generate revenue, their overhead is absolutely insane, to where none of that revenue actually goes back to the holders or to the project itself. So I feel like right now it goes unnoticed unless you know how to look for it, because the values are relatively smaller. For example, like, we've generated, I think, $12,000 in the last week. And like, on PulseChain, that's probably pretty good compared to everything else on the chain. But against, large projects that have been around for 10 years on Ethereum, that's probably not as much. But I think that number can go from 12,000 to 100,000 very, very quickly. I know it can go very, very quickly. And when we start to get there, now we're competing against some of the biggest players in the game with no overhead, with it going to the places that matter instead of the places that don't. And then that's just the 10x of revaluation. Like, what if pTGC and PulseChain and Ethereum, and it does a little bit more than that? What if we're generating $200,000 a week, $300,000 a week? I think alone, these kind of mechanics and obviously where those funds are going is going to start to really market itself, because people can do basic math. And if you understand basic math, you can understand pTGC. People don't like to do basic math with smaller numbers, but when the numbers start to become larger and they're looking at $100,000 a week or a day getting generated in $1,000, they'll figure out the math, right? Like, people find a way to put 2 and 2 together. And yes, I think we can put in the effort we can to market it ourselves, but I think the product alone will do a ton of the marketing, especially if we don't burn bridges and we focus on building bridges with pTGC.
Yeah, we've also got the connections. We've got great connections. We have the ability to get on large platforms, obviously paid platforms. All of those things are there. Obviously those things are just market timing things. You want to use that revenue, if you're going to use that revenue, when you're going to get peak performance out of it and maximum efficiency out of the capital. Right now, that's not it, right? But everything is on the table. Whatever can be done for the betterment of the project, for the community, everything's on the table.
And it looks like Benjamin left, but my thought, I said it earlier in the stream. I've been looking at Ethereum a lot. Last cycle, it took 9 months to bottom. We had 9 months of red this cycle. Last cycle, it chopped sideways for like 9 more months with a slightly uptrend. I very well think we could see something similar to that. That doesn't mean something bad doesn't happen and we get a black swan event lower. That doesn't mean that it doesn't revalue at any point. I'm just saying, I see a lot of people say it has to be 12 months. And this kind of goes back to why this conversation even started. And I'd love to re-answer the question that Banana had. Why would you take action now instead of waiting till October? My answer would very much be like, there's no guarantee of the bottom being in October. Very well, the bottom could have already happened and it could be trending upwards. That doesn't mean that it can't go lower, but for me, in cryptocurrency at these prices, this Ethereum price, this PulseChain price, this pTGC price, I'm long from here. That doesn't mean that there isn't a little retrace or anything, but I think the upside potential by far outweighs the downside potential. And I wouldn't be willing to be sidelined with a large majority of my portfolio just putting all those pieces together. And that could be completely different for someone else. Maybe for someone else, they want to wait for things to go lower. But for me, I think we're at the lows and a 1.5 year downtrend for alt tokens in general, and then looking like they're starting to bottom. Basic trend indicators, MACD's crossing, RSI's going up. Ethereum doing 9 red candles in a row. I feel like we're close, and I wouldn't want to be sidelined in this industry at this point, personally.
What did you say? I'm sorry. Did you have something, Nika?
Yeah, I was just saying that, when like even now, me DCAing in at these prices, the way I'm looking at it is I'm earning free coins on my DCA. So even if it does go down a little bit every week, my coins are earning coins on top of it. So that's actually lowering the price that I paid for it generically. Yep. And if this is the bottom, then all of these coins that I'm earning now is just going to be worth even more in the future. So whether we're at a bottom now or, the bottom is going to be coming, to DCA now and be earning coins every day, is still a good thing, up or down.
Yep.
Without a doubt. I mean, I'm right now, and anything at this level and down, we're getting a lot of tokens. And what that means is that there's distribution taking place in the payouts of the APY. That's a big thing that just kind of gets overlooked because it's not an LP ad, it's not a buy and burn, but the APY, anyone who's in this system, they're pretty much not selling their APY down here.
No way.
Maybe if they got big, huge bags because, they can go spend $2,000 over here, $2,000 over here a month or something like this. But anyone with a good amount of bag, they're just holding them because they know that the tokens are they're at the low right now. So why would you off them if you don't need to? But you did a comment, Zen, and I think it was was it 50 million? It's 100 million a day in Pulse the system's taken in currently right now. And I think it was 50 million tokens a week are being bought and burned. Yep. Is that correct?
I believe so. I'll look it up, but
I believe that was 50 million tokens a week being burned, Zen, if I remember right.
Yeah, it's two separate posts. That's not part of the same post, but one post I was doing today was just highlighting that right now we're buying and burning with just the code of pTGC and UFO. We haven't done a buy and burn here recently. 50 million pTGC every 7 days.
That's a lot, man.
And in the post, I was talking about how the system is designed to where it's just a supply that's just ever decreasing every single day, some days more than others. And right now, there's only 3% of supply even on the market for the machine to even get at. And
just to let you know, that was $65,000 at the all-time high. 50 million tokens. So that's $65,000 a week at the previous all-time high.
Yeah, and that's one of the I think the key points of the machine is building a super strong foundation down here that's going unnoticed, right? Highlighting $65,000 of buy and burns when we're at all-time highs, that's great marketing. We're doing the same exact thing down here, but it's obviously $5,000, or something like that. So it goes a lot less noticed, but it's still going on. It's going on every single week. If we sit down here for another 4 months chopping sideways on ETH and on PulseChain, and let's say pTGC doesn't move up at all, let's say it just chops sideways, but we still keep doing everything at the same rate. We're still generating 100 million PLS every single day because that's what we're doing about right now. That was the other post. And we're buying and burning 50 mil every single week. And let's say we're onboarding 30 people, every single week. And distribution is going on, and people who don't really value their pTGC tokens as much as others, they're letting go of their pTGC tokens if that's just to pay bills or they want to go chase something or whatever, right? It's everyone's own business. There's a lot of progress going on right here, and bear markets do not last forever. And when it is time to go up again, I think there's a big tipping point for pTGC because one of the main buyers throughout this whole bear market was the debt address. And the debt address is never going to sell. Most cryptocurrencies in the bear market, they don't have these massive buy and burns that are scooping up the majority of the tokens. It's all users, and eventually users sell portions of their bags. And I find it interesting that, we have to remember every time we see that debt address buy, it's not only value going into our LPs and increasing the value of the token itself, it's value that is never going to come back in. It's never going to be sold, which I think is going to create a lot smoother of a ride and more sustainability as we push forward in these next few cycles.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors that just because of the design of an AMM and the connections with reflexivity, they go unnoticed until they don't.
Like right now we're only a 50%. We're 50% down from our all-time high against Pulse, right? And most people don't realize that because they see a chart that's 93% down, which looks a lot worse. But the majority of that down is because PulseChain is down 90% from when we were even at our all-time highs against PulseChain, and we've gotten that reflexivity, and that's hurt our price. But when you think about pTGC only being 50% of the price of it compared to its all-time high, in an environment that has lost 90% of the on-chain value, like the TVL of the chain has decreased 90% since then, and we've still been able to maintain 50% of our value against our all-time high. That's possible because of the machine in this community. And if that's possible in this kind of environment, it's not surprising that we got to a 380 mil market cap at the same price that PulseChain was when pTGC launched. We were able to get from 100K market cap all the way to a 380 mil from not 1x from the blockchain. And yeah, now we're at 24
That's
mil.
absolutely insane, dude. That's just, it's insane. It's crazy. It pisses me off. But my God, it should speak to the power of the thing.
Yeah, not 1x. That was the exact same price that PulseChain was when pTGC launched. That's when we hit the 380 mil market cap. And that's on a chain that there's not like unlimited amount of capital to tap into. Ethereum and Solana have so much money moving around every single day. You can have runner meme tokens that happen for, a week period, but then die off because there's so much money moving around there. And ETH bull run, 2 cycles ago, it had some real crazy runners in short amounts of time because there was so much value. We did that on a chain that ultimately was a smaller price than the sacrifice price. There was less value on the chain than the day the chain came out. We're able to get there. Right now, obviously, we're a whole lot lower, 93% lower. But again, that's the opportunity for the community members who are paying attention. And, the code's taking advantage of that opportunity. We're buying and burning tokens every single day. And it's going to do that when pTGC is 3 zeros and a 1, which we're close to. It'll do it when pTGC is 2 zeros and a 1. It'll do it when pTGC is 1 0 and a 1. It'll do it when pTGC is $1. The code will never stop buying pTGC. pTGC in 20 years could be $10, and the code will still think, oh, I want to buy this pTGC today and never sell it ever again. And everything I've bought 20 years prior that I bought 1,000 plus X ago, I'm never going to sell that either.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that Benjamin's sentiment is that, people just kind of just don't get that, or just choose to not just focus on it, but it's true. Like the reality of it is, I said this a few weeks ago, the system is designed to get to the last pTGC token.
Yep.
It's literally trying to burn every token out of existence. It's super powerful, man. Like it's a mathematical financial system that's just constantly raising the price floor. And the fact that it's done what it's done on a chain with zero help from the chain. It's not that zero help. It's not like it was just a stable coin. It's like 10x lower, not help.
I know, that's the crazy part. we could have killed it if we just paired with a freaking stable coin.
Seriously, if we just put it with freaking stables, oh my god. Jeez. But that's okay.
It's an opportunity for whoever wants the bag.
Yeah.
And whoever doesn't want a bag and has a bag, whoever's selling, it's created a lower price to where they're having to sell a lot more tokens to get $1,000, $2,000, $5,000. So it's in my opinion, it probably is one of the better things for pTGC long term. You're kind of saying it that you don't mind it chopping sideways for 4 to 5 months because it's probably great for the system. And I 100% agree. Like, I think everyone would love some green candles just for their own mental state at this point. But for the pTGC machine that has no emotions, it don't mind itself being here right now at all.
Well, let me give an example. It wasn't too long ago where I told you that the top 50 wallets just got into where there was $1 billion left in each wallet. Well, now the top 50 wallet has 874 million, not $1 billion. The 49th wallet, 886 million, not $1 billion. 897 million, not $1 billion. So what's happening is if you are selling the tokens, you're getting the same dollar value, but you're having to relinquish so many more tokens to get the dollar value. And that massively strengthens the system. I'm just watching those metrics, and it's just massively strengthening the system here. The LP ads, the distribution, the fact that these people are having, if they want to take profits, they're having to give away copious amounts of tokens compared to where we were at, during the cycle. This is what distribution looks like. And I'm just watching it just in the top 50. I just watched this top 50 like a hawk, and it's, dude, it's getting really strong.
Could you guys just talk into one thing for me?
Sure.
Yeah.
Because you keep saying pTGC, and I think I did say last week that I'm quite a big fan of UFO. But what do you guys foresee happening? I mean, this is pretty cool that with something like UFO, I mean, obviously pTGC to an extent too, but when whales that hold, huge PulseX, Hex Inc. bags, the incentive to actually liquidity provide, do you know what I mean? Like, they can earn some pretty amazing yield when things... What's your thought on that? Because I think that's a huge thing and potential there that these, when the market kind of returns. What's your thoughts on that?
So I think when things revalue, people, at least with a portion of their bag, are going to want to put that back. It's just very similar to capital that you have floating around. If you're doing good with business, you're not just stuffing that value under your mattress forever. You usually try to find a way to where you can park it in an appreciating asset or a passive income asset, or you maybe put some more into your business to get the business bigger. Usually just don't sit on it and let it rot away. I think it'll be very similar with value on PulseChain. I think that, people will take profits here or there and maybe take care of themselves or their families or get something paid for or whatever, but there's still going to be value that people keep on chain. If you look at the Ethereum whales, a lot of them are providing LP with ETH and stables because there's a passive income that they can make off of that by just staying in the market, but not bringing on too much risk. And the risk usually is giving up custody of your assets to earn an APY, which I think is pretty obvious at this. Richard hit that nail on the head 7-8 years ago that is the worst thing you can do with your newfound wealth is give up the custody of it. So you want to kind of give ways. The pTGC and UFO have this built into them, but for example, a lot of the RH tokens don't. So a good way to earn passive income off of it is by LP providing. And most farms, you have to give up custody and stuff like that to earn off of them, where UFO I think is super unique is you still get to keep 100% self-custody of the PLP token. So you're not having to give that up to a farm to earn the additional APY. I just don't think there's a lot of systems out there like it. It's also a system to where the main LP token is a token that's hyper deflationary, not inflationary. So you have the potential of half of that LP pool to get dragged up because it's a scarce token that's also just bonded mostly the other side of your pair and pTGC as well, which is a super scarce token. So like for anyone that turns, let's say, a mediocre amount of value into a large amount of value, I think people will take profits here or there, but really IRL, there isn't like a crazy amount of great investment opportunities and passive income opportunities. It's, this is the reason why a lot of us have made our way to cryptocurrency. So then you have to ask yourself, well, I'm here. What is going to be the safest way to where I can keep my value working for me? I can keep getting price appreciation. I want sustainability. And, I think UFO stands out as a great opportunity. It's an index just like pTGC. It's got more LP than pTGC. It's hyper deflationary like pTGC. It's, in my opinion, a micro cap. It's at a 4.5 cap with 2.5 million LP. So there's a liquidity to market cap ratio of 50%. And you can earn passive PLS with it. So yeah, you could be exposed to impermanent loss, but if you're a very long-term, you're pairing up two tokens that you see a lot of value in. For me, like I see a lot of value in PulseX because I believe in its deflationary nature. I really like PulseX for RH's tokens. That's my favorite token of his. And UFO's hyper deflationary. So those are like ones I would like to pair up together because you know what? I think that over the long period of time, they're both going to do very, very well. And I'm happy to get paid PLS for putting up those two tokens. Obviously, to date, my UFO has outperformed my PulseX by a landslide. I did a like 30K to 1 million journey wallet, which is currently, I think, only at 30K. I made it like a year and a half ago or something. Yeah, a year and a half ago.
Mm-hmm.
But the UFO in the wallet, I think, is up 2.5x. And the RH token side, I believe, is down like 9x. So the PulseX or RH token has completely destroyed the portfolio, but the pTGC or the UFO side of all those LPs has saved the portfolio. And that's an impermanent loss I'm okay with. I did lose some of my valuable UFO, but it's helped save my RH token side and kind of DCA into that decreasing price of those tokens. And if those ever come back up, ratios will fix themselves. If not, I have these massive early UFO shares that I think will be great PLS printers into the future of this blockchain. And then what's that create? That creates an environment to where I can actually use some profits to take care of my family and not actually tap into any of my initials. So then those initials can go multi-cycle and a 10x can turn into a 100x, a 100x can turn into a 1000x, 1000x can turn into a 10,000x. If you need to tap into those initials first cycle because they're not doing anything for you, well, you don't have any tokens to go into the next cycle. And that's what happened to a lot of people with Bitcoin and Ethereum.
That's great. Thank you for the explanations. And just so people know, I think pTGC back to all-time highs like 15.6x, but I think UFO is like a 24x back to all-time highs. So I just look for opportunity as well, just a heads up to anybody. But I have equal holdings. I think my UFO bag is a little bigger, but I think it's a great opportunity, UFO, and I just love talking about it. And man, that's cool, Zen, what you're saying, how you how you set it up and how you're playing it too. So I love that you're so involved in your own ecosystem, man. I wish Richard Hart would talk about what he's doing and like you are, what he's doing with his ink and his PulseX and
yeah, I'm a pretty normal guy, just like everyone else. I'm banking on utilizing, these protocols to change my family's life in a way that's not like how most people in cryptocurrency utilize it, just by dumping on people, but using them in a sustainable fashion and what I designed them for to help change my family's future. And I personally believe over the long term, the people who can hold on to these tokens the longest will be rewarded the hardest. So I have the same goal as everyone else, to hold on to as many as possible, as long as possible, because I think I think 1,000 tokens, 100,000 tokens, 1 million tokens in the future could be worth a good chunk. Just depends on how long you're willing to wait. And
well, Dizzle, check it out, right? Here's just a fun thought. Let's just envision a day where, can you just mute out real quick, Zen, because it's like super loud. Just envision a moment where the last person that could sell or wants to sell sells, but the system's still doing what it does. What begins to happen? Right?
Mechanical scarcity and price appreciation.
Infinitum. So we are working our way toward that reality where the last group of people that actually want to sell, and the remaining people that can sell, they do sell, but they sell in a way that, like Zen's talking about, because these are long-term holders now. They know what they own now. The system has proved itself. And at that point, you would be a moron to sell that asset. A moron. Because where are you going to go to get a stronger asset than that once this asset revalues and proves itself to be what exactly that it is? So envision a time where anyone who could have sold out. The system bought them out, and all of a sudden the system's generating not $1,000 a day or $5,000 a day. It's generating $50,000 a day, and the people that are in are in. That's a tipping point that we really haven't seen in a Bitcoin, in an Ethereum, or anything, because all of these things have been inflationary assets. And they're not revenue generating assets. They're revenue generating for the validators. They're revenue generating for the miners, but they're not revenue generating for until Ethereum went to proof of stake. But still, it's a lot more of a complicated thing to be involved with. It's just going to be a very unique thing, because one day this system is going to hit that tipping point where it basically runs out of the people that want to sell amounts that matter anymore.
Yeah, it's cool. And I think I've mentioned it. I will mention the token, but when I bought pTGC first time, there's one token called pGIF, which calls itself a self deflationary model that adds its own liquidity and stuff like that. But that pGIF bad boy has $8,000 market cap and a liquidity of $77. That thing fell to absolute rubbish. But I bought pTGC at the same time, and I'm just saying this is the power of community of these spaces every week. I just appreciate y'all, because it's. Yeah, and then I got a tip off that pTGC was way better than that pGIF system, just because of the way it's perpetual mechanical buy and burns. And so I'm telling you guys, I'm just trying to.
Oh, you're talking about the GIF on PulseChain?
Yeah, GIF on PulseChain.
Oh, dude, when they had their spaces, not to hate the guys, but I know all the guys in person.
Yeah.
Right. I went on their first live stream the first day, and I went on there and I asked them the main questions that they did not want to answer, knowing that the system was going to collapse.
Yeah.
I love the guys, but it was never going to work.
Yeah. And I think K4K Crypto, he was big on it at first, and then obviously he's a PTGC guy. I don't know about now. He's quite silent, but I know these guys, but yeah, I'm thankful for you guys. I'm thankful for PTGC because it's been a real, man, I think B-Root says it, thank God for PTGC. So.
A wallet saver.
Thanks for building something cool, guys. I'm so appreciative. Because we're here to change, families' lives, and
there's nothing like it on any chain. We just need to see. Bro. Once this thing gets a revaluation, once Richard revalues his chain, he has to revalue his chain. The guy's got billions of dollars. He's got to revalue his chain. But let me tell you, he's shaking it. Like Trevor said it tonight. I mean, if you look on Trevor, click on Trevor, and look at the. You scroll down just a little bit. Well, where's it at? Because I just saw it and commented on it. It was like it showed all of the influencers that are like gone now, and it's like 90% of all the people that were kind of involved are just kind of like gone. Let me see if I can.
Wow.
Oh man, I'm aware. I
here
put all
it is. Here it is right here. It's in
the
the jumbotron. You can see it.
He's
in there
shaking
now.
them out, man. Shaking them
Yeah.
out.
To be honest with you, we're at the point where I'm having really hard conversations with people. It's hard to hear, but that's how I know how close we are.
Yep, because it's silent out there. People have their expectations weren't met, but if you can just holding is the key. So, thanks, guys. I should probably bounce, but thanks for good spaces. Thanks for answering questions. Thanks for appreciate y'all.
Yeah, thanks, G-Diz, for jumping in.
Yeah, thanks, Prairie. I've known you since I think I coast the Hedron, which is still cool. Like Alex is still building, respect to him, but
Yeah.
I like this ecosystem better.
Yep, me too.
Yeah, me too. Alex is amazing, though. I mean, he's a benevolent force for good on PulseChain. He's a very good man.
Yep.
Yeah, and I speak to and just to one more little thing. And I do speak to some people, and then in the dev community, I do know. So I do my research, But I mean, Zen, man, you're very highly regarded, man, amongst people. I just want to put that out there again. That there's some guys I know. I won't name them, but they're streamers, and that but there's just they may not talk about PTGC and UFO, but there's just that trust and that they just know that it's good code, but the founding team, I should say, all you guys, I just never heard anything bad spoken, So thanks, y'all.
Yeah, man, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Guys, are you guys ready to shut it down, or where are you guys at?
Yeah, I'm ready.
I'm good.
Put the kids to bed soon. So if you guys are done, I'm also looking at this picture that Trevor made, putting the gray circles over everyone. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, if that doesn't speak of like we're getting close, I don't know what does, bro. But yeah,
I think that PulseChain is going to be an ever evolving ecosystem. Every single cycle, there will be more new people coming. Some old people will leave. PTGC too, sadly. There will be people that were here 2.5 years ago that won't be here for now, and then I'm sure throughout multi-cycles there will always be a revolving door of people who come and go. And we have to hope to keep as many people on board and happy and having a good time as much as possible. Sadly, I think that's why we lost a lot of those influencers at PulseChain, is just people tapping out, and I completely understand why. It's been really, really tough, but there will always be that revolving door, and I feel like we have to have our arms open and encourage people to come up and speak and give their input and their thoughts and how we can improve, and PulseChain as a whole do that same thing and just keep growing. Right now we have, I think, like 5,000 people who have, I think it's like $300 or more in PTGC. Banana probably knows those numbers. And within 1 year, we could have that number up to 20,000 and then 50,000 and then 100,000. And that's where like the distribution and the community size becomes something super, super valuable. It's more than just code, right? This is something that I've found the most valuable for PulseChain is the Metcalfe's law of this large community all working towards a common goal. I even feel like it's went a little bit off track here in the last couple of years of what that common goal really is. But I feel like I have comfort with pTGC, where we can guide that common goal and keep focusing on and just growing. And we could be a few years down the road and we could have 50,000 people who own $1,000 plus of pTGC all across the world that believe in this project long term. And, you know, it could be super valuable, and that's just 5 years from now.
Mm-hmm. Or less. Well, Zen, shall we meet again on Saturday? I think I dropped myself out. I literally rugged myself. All right. The red comments. Well said, Zen. Gray's going to make it green. I rugged myself on Spaces somehow. I was looking at that, all the influencers, and somehow I'll message Zen and let him know, hey, man, I don't know what happened, but obviously I did something. Appreciate you guys being here week after week, day after day. We're going to win, man. And when we do, we'll see it coming more so than many other people because we're here. So, guys, go have a great week and just enjoy stacking that yield 24/7 in pTGC. You know, the average dolphin last year stacked up, I want to say, I'm putting myself on the spot, like 600,000 tokens. I think a dolphin, you're welcome. I think a dolphin stacked up 600,000 tokens last year in yield, just from, you know, in a low depressed market. You know, that's going to be worth something one day, right? If this token goes to $1 or $2, if it's worth $2, that'd be $1.2 million worth of tokens that were stacked up in 2025. Yeah, despise not the day of small things. All right, guys, have a good week. We'll see you on Saturday.